Are there going to be signs of Jesus coming in judgment and the end of the world? Sometimes people will open their Bible to Matthew 24 and they'll read about wars and civil unrest and governments falling and rising, and they'll say, see, the Bible does actually mention there are signs of the coming of the Lord and the end of the world. But is that what that passage is teaching? Let's offer 3 quick answers to that from the Bible itself. Number 1, Matthew 24 is actually divided into 2 parts based on the questions of the disciples at the early part of the chapter. In Matthew 24, verses 1 through 3, the Bible says, "Then Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came up to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said to them, 'Do you not see all these things? Assuredly I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down.' Now, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, 'Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?'" See, they were reflecting on his talk about the destruction of Jerusalem, and perhaps in their mind were trying to connect that to the end of the world, and Jesus said, "Now let me answer your questions about that." So he answers 1 about the destruction of Jerusalem, and number 2 about the end of the world. Number 2, everything in the first 35 verses of this chapter is about the destruction of Jerusalem that occurred in AD 70, and so it was limited in application to that generation of people. In Matthew 24, verses 34 and 35, the Bible says, "Assuredly I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away," meaning that everything Jesus had discussed to that point applied to the people in his presence or that were contemporary, that they were going to see these things take place. So those signs, all of those indicators, were for the people of that generation. Now, concerning the end of the world, number 3, and judgment, there are no signs. Because in the same chapter, in verse 36, there's a transition. Jesus says, "But of that day and hour knows no one, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only," meaning nobody's going to know when the end of the world occurs. There won't be signs for the end of the world. In the latter part of the chapter, in verse 42 beginning through verse 44, the Bible says, "Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." So are there signs of the Lord's coming in judgment and the end of the world? No, not according to Jesus. Hey, thanks for checking out our video, and thanks for your interest in the truth. We hope you have a great day, and may God bless your studies.